everybody. Welcome back to the ADV Talk podcast. Here with my buddies Nate and Dylan. Before we get to talking to them, I wanted to bring everybody up to speed on some things with the podcast here. As we all know, or if anybody who listened to the podcast before probably realizes that my buddies Patrick and Arlo kind of started this thing. But they're both busy guys and got a lot going on, and just haven't had time to get back to doing more episodes. So I talked to them, and we kind of decided that would be a good idea for me to kind of carry the torch here and carry this podcast on. So my plan is to just kind of start reaching out and meet with a bunch of other people that I ride with, and just talking to them and getting stories from all kinds of people. So starting here today with Nate and Dylan.
We're kind of a big deal.
Totally a big deal.
Big deal.
A couple good buddies of mine here. I've done a lot of riding with Nate over the years. We try to do at least one good big ride a year. And Dylan he's been a big Harley rider for a long time, but he just recently bought a nice 300 Rally. So we're looking forward to riding with him this year too. So
yeah, pumped.
Yeah, we're going to ruin it.
I can't wait.
It's the best that bike's ever going to look.
I can't wait to get it to leak some oil.
It's not a Harley, Dylan.
I'm going to make it leak some oil.
Not a Harley. So, real quick, just want to learn maybe a little bit about you two guys. Maybe tell everybody, Nate, what do you ride? Tell everybody about the riding that you've done, and whatever else you want to get into here.
Ooh, good question. So these days, mainly ride the KTM sitting here behind me, 500 EXC. Really an enduro/dirt bike, but I push it to an adventure bike as best as I can by bolting more and more crap on it, but it's still uncomfortable as hell.
But it does great. And and there's nothing it can't ever do, right? It's the do everything machine. So
for sure,
same colors too.
And crossing my fingers, but no issues on any of these trips. And I got a lot of shit from these guys for riding the KTM.
Very surprisingly.
So far, she's been real reliable. Stay that way.
Unsurprisingly, the Tiger has broken down many times, but Nate never has. He's never the problem. So
Also have my old man's KLR 650 back there. I got an old 91 Harley Electric Glide Ultra Classic. And spread throughout the garage is a 81 shovel head in many pieces.
Nice.
That's what I'm rocking right now.
Nice. What year KLR? I'm sure we got a lot of KLR fans here.
Oh yeah, that is, I believe it's an 03 or 04. Yep. And it's had a long, hard life.
Yeah.
It looks completely different.
As they should. Yeah. As every KLR should.
Oh yeah.
Do hookie mod done?
Oh,
that's gonna be number one question.
That's
right?
So that's a good one. When I got the bike up here, my dad had the kit to do the mod, but just hadn't done it. And I rode it for a while, and it rode like a KLR, just fine. And I thought, well, I'll go ahead and do this. So opened her up, got in there, and the cam chain tensioner was just blown apart. There was huge chunks of metal in the oil pan. I was fishing them out with the magnet, and it's got like 60,000 miles on it. So we don't know if it happened at 10,000 miles or the day before I did it, but it doesn't run any different now than it did. So I say, screw the doohickey mod, just let it break. It's a KLR.
It's going to skip a tooth and still keep going, right?
Yeah, exactly.
No big deal. Awesome.
Yep.
Sweet. Dylan, you tell us a little bit about
here. Jeez.
Yeah, really.
You're in the other booth.
Adventure rider expert. So, if anybody needs any advice on
technique,
I got it.
Dylan, you've ridden Harleys for a good period of time here, huh?
Yep. My first bike was a 2000 883 Sportster that I put a shit ton of miles on at this point, and actually I don't even know how many miles are on it now. So my speedo doesn't. The trip button doesn't work, and I just said, nah, not fixing that. But it's been a great bike.
Awesome.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. Yeah. We did a big, long 3-week trip on Harleys in 2019. So
hell of a trip.
Took that Sportster on it. So it was a lot of fun.
And then you just picked up a Honda.
Yeah, I just got my first non-Harley. I have 4 Harleys sitting in my garage and 2 motors. So they all leak oil.
Typical story there, I think.
Yeah, but I just picked up this 2021 300 yesterday, so still
Awesome.
I haven't even ridden it yet, but
Beautiful bike.
Yeah.
I rode it. Looks
yeah,
great.
he said it was good.
Got all the Farkles on there.
Oh, man.
Really set up.
There's as much money in Farkles on that thing as there is bike. Crazy.
But, yeah, I'm really excited.
Good deal, too.
Yeah,
Get
you and
that
me
out there,
bud.
so.
Excited to ride with you. So
Also, not to cut you off,
Go ahead.
I think I texted you this yesterday. It still blows my mind, the clutch on that freaking thing.
Oh yeah,
It's
so light.
And it's not hydraulic either, just a cable, but I don't know. I don't know how
light,
they do
yeah.
it.
Well, a friend of mine, my friend Emmy, has one, and I rode hers one time, and yeah, the clutch on it was super light too. Like it was almost not there. Like it pulled in way too easy. Right? It's surprising and weird. Yeah. Yeah. Is this is this the first? I know you come from somewhat of a motorcycle family, right?
Yeah.
First Honda in all of your family, Dylan.
Oh yeah.
Are you the disgrace of the family now?
Well, probably. But yeah, first one. I don't know if maybe when my dad was younger, I think he had some like little metric bikes, but then he grew up and became a man and just was a Harley rider.
Here we go.
No, just
You're
kidding.
not going to know what to do with yourself walking out to the garage and just hitting a button and the thing starting up.
That actually sounds terrible.
Where's the adventure in that?
He's going to be working on shit that doesn't need work, breaking everything.
But I'm non-discriminatory towards two wheels, so maybe just wouldn't ride an Indian, but
You going to hardtail it soon?
yeah, after this
Springer front end?
yeah,
Okay.
Naturally. Yeah.
big long forks.
Awesome. Well, hey, I'm excited to ride with you, man. And,
Me too.
For anybody who doesn't know, we're planning to do the Idaho BDR this summer. Nate's going along, and Dylan is now going along too. And I'm excited to break him in on a good trail. Good trail.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Nate, I've done a lot of trips with you. We've for probably 10 plus years now. We've been trying to do a trip a year. Usually it ends up being every other year or so, but done several BDRs and the Cat and others. Tell us about a favorite trip of yours or a favorite ride that you've done.
Ooh, geez. They all have their high points, that's for sure. I gotta say, I had a real good time on the Arizona BDR, and we've ridden scenery that's more impressive, like Telluride and Silverton. That's just beautiful out there. But just as far as having a good old time, the Arizona BDR, well, more the backer discovery route, I think is what we're calling it.
I mean, they were both great, right? We did the BDR north, and then I put a route together to go back south. We called it the backer discovery route.
I remember. One night, there was three of us, got dark, he blew a tube, shocker. So sun went down, we're about 60 miles from any civilization, and he's like, you go ahead, so I ended up riding in front, and it's probably about 2-3 miles in front, and just cruising along, pitch black out there in the middle of the desert, and look off to my right, and I see this string of lights. I'm like, what the heck is that? And I just keep looking, and they seem like they're moving, but like, maybe there's like a mountain back there and like just a power line or like ski lift or something. Probably no ski resorts in Arizona. But I was like, this is weird. So finally I stopped, and sure enough, they're coming right at me. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm out here in the west, in the desert.
Middle of the desert.
Probably not
nowhere,
far from Area 51.
Yeah.
Like, this is it. These are aliens. We're going to die. So I stopped and waited on them to catch up. And I'm like, look at that. What is going on? He starts laughing. He goes, oh, Elon Musk is fucking with your mind. So that was my introduction to Starlink on that trip, too. Very cool.
Oh, Elon got him, yeah. I had the same reaction first time I saw him. I was at my land one night, and I saw them in the sky, and I thought, oh my God, we're being invaded by aliens. And I told my daughter and my girlfriend at the time, I was like, get in the house or get in the truck, we're getting out of here. She did a little Googling and figured it out. Yeah, crazy. Yep. But yeah, the Arizona BDR was awesome. What a great, memorable trip. The route was fine. It was good, but we just had a really good crew there, and damn, we had a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Camped a good majority of the time and had some good, crazy campfires.
Polished off some Jameson bottles. And,
a little bit
good
of that.
stuff. I froze my ass off one night. It got down to about 14 degrees, and I packed the wrong sleeping bag, so didn't really sleep that night.
Yeah, a couple chilly nights for sure up by the Grand Canyon. Dylan, you ever take a good ride?
Yeah, probably the biggest one I've ever done on the Harleys was our Harley trip we went on out west. A few years ago. 4 or 5 years ago.
You started here in Indiana?
Yeah. So we trailered the bikes out to like Colorado Springs. So we started in Colorado.
Okay.
Just because we were like, not want to waste time just riding through Kansas.
Nobody wants to go through Kansas.
So we started out in Colorado, and went to Colorado.
Oh, I'd have to pull up a freaking map.
But just like all over the place.
4,200 miles.
Yeah.
How many days was it? About 20?
Yeah. I think it was about 19 or 20 days. So.
Yeah, that's hauling. That's a lot of.
Yeah,
that's a lot of riding.
Not bad. Yeah. The only place we were really going was to the Born Free Harley like chopper show or whatever.
Sweet. Where was that at?
That was in Silverado, California. Oh. So just super close to LA. But then after that, we like didn't really have a plan of like where we were going, so we were just hit the Pacific Coast Highway and rode it all the way up into Oregon
until Harley broke down.
Yeah.
That was gonna be my next question. Did anybody break down?
I think everyone but me, which granted I was on a newer Harley at the time, had some sort of issue or another.
I just ran out of gas multiple times.
But old dad. Yeah, he had a trip ending.
Who was supposed to be here, by the way, but really, he's weak.
Yeah. Yeah. Old, short.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Ethan.
But he had some major problems.
Yep.
What happened?
What did go wrong?
I think he was having an issue with his battery, and I think his like stator plug was like moving in, so we couldn't make a good connection. And then we stayed in Lake Havasu at longtime friend of my family's, and we should have gone back. I remember we were like, should we go back and just solder it together so you don't have to worry about like the connection coming loose? And we didn't do that. Probably, I don't know, what was it, like a couple weeks later, I think?
It was a solid week later.
We couldn't even get it to like run, and we ran somewhere in Oregon, had to stop at a Harley dealership. Of course, bike was too old. They couldn't really get any parts.
All right.
Yeah, great Harley network there, guys.
Yeah. But yeah, so then Ethan just had to, go back in his truck.
He had to fly back to Colorado Springs, drive us to Tacoma out there, pick it up. And he ended up meeting us at some point.
Salt Lake
following
City.
us in the Tacoma with the Harley in the back.
So that was pretty cool.
So he had a chase truck for a while.
Yeah,
that works. That
sure
works. Good stuff.
Who all was on that trip? So me, Dylan, Evan Diamond, and old dad.
Old dad.
Yeah. But we were heading south out of Idaho one day, and at this point, Ethan was flying around trying to get his bike. Evan had bombed down south to meet one of his friends.
Yeah.
So it was just me and Dylan for a little while, and we were heading south out of Idaho into Nevada. Is it Nevada or Nevada? I never know.
Yeah,
Nevada.
whatever you want.
I think it's Nevada.
Nevada? Yeah. So we were heading towards Jackpot, and to our right, there was this big lake that seemed like it went on and on for miles. And sure enough, there was a real crappy dirt rock road. And I'm like, you know what? What would Backer do? So I said, Dylan, we're trying it.
You had your WWBD necklace on.
So I took us down this road, and I think we both probably almost blew our fork seals out, and we almost wrecked into each other once.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a real easy road, too.
That's great.
Yeah, but it was cool. Got a good view out of it, and made another memory there.
Yeah, that's awesome. I do. The thought does occasionally cross my mind to get a Harley and ride with you guys. I always wise up and don't do it, but one of these days it might happen. It might happen. Could happen. Where's somewhere you guys want to go? Where's a future place you want to ride?
Chile.
What's there for you, Nate?
Everything.
Well, tell me.
It's got it all, man.
Mountains.
Mountains.
Got awesome
desert,
mountains. Yeah.
Beaches.
All right. You can there's places you can ride on the beach there, I think. Probably, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think I've read into that a little bit.
That's the dream.
Cool. What's a good drink in Chile? What are they known for?
I don't know. That's a good question. I bet you I'll figure it out, though, if we make it down there.
I think that's important to know.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'll have to do a little research on that one.
Dylan, where's somewhere you want to go, man?
I might just drink straight cocaine. I'm not sure.
Place I would like to go. I'd like to get down into Baja, California.
Yeah.
Either on some super shitty choppers, that'd be kind of epic.
Yeah.
Or kind of just whatever kind of motorcycle. So
Yeah, Baja's on
I feel
the
like
list.
that'd be super cool. So
I've not been there. A lot of people I ride with have been there, but I've not. So yeah, it's on my list. And I want to get you guys down into just mainland Mexico.
Oh,
and,
yeah, we need to do that one, too.
Party with the cartel for a night or two. Yeah.
see if they can hang with us.
Probably not.
2020, I started laying a route out for that, or 2019 I started, and then we ended up doing the NEBDR instead. But I still got that route, so we need to make that happen. Real Mexico.
What about you?
Well, that's a big one. Real Mexico.
What's the top? What's your top spot?
Yeah, I mean, well, okay. In the next 5 years, I'd like to ride to Alaska and through Alaska. Oh, yeah. That's big on my list. Certainly this Mexico trip that I've been planning for 3-4 years now is a big deal for me. And then the Alps. I want to get over to the Alps, which brings me to my next question is if you want to go to another country, any ideas where else other country you'd ride to?
To ride? Oh, yeah. Definitely switch, well, besides South America.
Sure.
Definitely want to do Austria, Switzerland, France, Italy.
So you've been over there, all around there, right, Nate?
Yep, I got to spend a lot of time for work. Of course, I wasn't on a bike, but it was still just incredible. Actually met a cop at Oktoberfest. I actually just sent him a message last night of the big beer glass. But he's an adventure rider as well, so we keep chatting back and forth about putting a trip together over there.
That's awesome.
And they have a really cool system in Europe too. I can't remember what it's called. It's similar to BDR, but it's just an app. And you can just pick a country, and there's just awesome routes mapped out, and GPS is in the app and everything. It's really
I read
neat.
about that. Yeah. It does sound really well put together. Like
it is.
yeah, it's an app, and it has the GPS there that you can download from there and utilize. Yeah.
Yep. It's really big over there too. I would almost, I mean, I'm talking out of my ass, but I feel like I saw a lot more enduros, and not necessarily the bigger, like huge BMWs, but a lot of mid-size adventure bikes over there. You'd see a ton of them. So
sweet.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Yeah. Anywhere else outside the states that you would want to ride, Dylan? Anything on your list? Any good Harley destination?
I feel like I'd like to ride around in Japan.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, they have a really awesome like chopper scene. They have like Moon Eyes is out there, and and I just seems like Japan would be just super epic and just like really nice. But
so when this may be awful of me, but when I think of Japan, I just think of city, right? I think everything's in the city, but there's probably like good out of country roads and mountains and stuff.
I would imagine I feel like just getting into some like really old like small towns in Japan would just be like super cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
It's kind of crazy how big the Harley scene is in Japan.
Oh yeah,
they're the ones cranking out these reliable bikes, but they're crazy about importing the leaky Harleys. It's huge.
They're just super cool too.
It's
of course
hard
they
being on
make
top.
them reliable.
It's hard always being good. Sometimes you got to drag yourself down, right? That's why Nate's got a beer in his hand.
Just got to stave off the shakes.
Oh, sweet. Okay. Yeah. Why ADV riding? What's exciting about it for you?
I think initially I got into it because Dad, he didn't really do ADV rides, but he did some dirt bike riding and just dual sporting locally, and it seemed cool. Started out on sport bikes with old Dad. May have rode with you a time or two as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And then, so me and Ethan decided, hey, we're going to get some bikes and we want to do some adventure rides. So we went out and bought DRZ 400s, took it down to my property, rode it for a day. I put it on Marketplace the next day, and I bought a KTM 525. I really didn't like the DRZ at all. But then it's still, I didn't know what I was getting myself into till we went on the Cat. With me, Ethan, you, and Jerry, a.k.a. Road Dad, right?
Yeah, Road Dad.
Road of a legend.
Yep.
And that that trip got me addicted.
That was it's kind of the first ADV trip that you and I really did together. We had done a little bit of street riding together.
I did, period.
First ADV ride you did, yeah. We had done a little bit of like street riding together before around Shoals. We were part of a little group up there, the 1150 riders, right?
Yep.
Anyway, but then that was the first time we did a dual sport ride, and it was a good fun trip.
It was. Yeah. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And then I felt like every trip I get even more and more addicted. I think our next trip was Silverton, and it's mind blowing. So addicted
for sure. So Silverton, I'll open your eyes for sure. Pretty sure I got a flat tire on the cat though, right? I think there's a picture out there of me throwing my bike up on a stump.
Yep.
to fix the flat. So we started it off right, like in true fashion.
We started that trip. So we literally unloaded our bikes from the trucks, and me and Ethan were both on 525s, and he had a stock kickstand, and they are like toothpicks. He put the kickstand down after unloading it, and it just goes. He didn't have a kickstand the whole trip.
Oh man.
Yeah, see that? He's drinking it too. Don't let the cup make him look classy.
Yeah. Got my adventure riding cup here, the Backer Adventure Tour Cup.
How about you, Dylan? What made you make the decision to get off the hog? And
well, never quite, off the hog. The hog's always there. Well, yeah, once you're on the hog, you can't get off of it.
What at that?
I feel like for years I'd always, when I worked at the Harley dealership for like 7 years, and
before you had a bike?
No, this was after, like maybe a few years after I learned how to ride and got my Sportster. I started working at the Harley dealership and ended up working there for 7.5 years. But even like a bunch of people that worked there, they had Harleys, but they also had, some adventure bikes and dirt bikes and stuff. So they always told me, they're like, oh, you gotta get one. And then finally, this guy I know, he might be sitting right next to me, would not stop talking to me about it. And
about adventure bikes?
Yeah, how I needed to get one and stuff. And probably the easiest thing he's ever convinced me to do. But yeah, just a new kind of riding and something new to learn. Most of the time you're on a Harley, you're just kind of chilling, sitting. So it'll be fun to just learn how to do it and just become a better rider overall. So
we kind of took opposite paths. So
I
was on dirt bikes and sport bikes and said I will never own a piece of crap Harley, and he's only on Harleys, and here we are.
Crossing paths.
I remember Nate telling me, he's like, I'll never own a Harley, and finally he got like what year Street Bob was
2010.
that? 2010 purple ice. That was the color.
So what I'm hearing here is that Dylan's going to grow old and be the really cool guy on an ADV bike, having a lot of fun. And Nate's going to grow old and be the douchebag on a Harley. He doesn't know how old he is. Dylan's going to be my new best friend in a few years.
But it was funny. It was after some point we were sitting at Cardinal Spirits in Bloomington, and Nate's on Marketplace. And I think we rode our Harleys there for like a Tiki Tuesday or something. And I look over, and this dude is straight up looking for old shovelhead Harley. I was like, wow. Said you'll never own one. Now you want to.
I fell hard and I fell fast. That's got a question for you. So what is an adventure bike?
Well, I think it gets said that an adventure bike's any bike you're willing to take an adventure on, right? Or to go adventuring on. So, absolutely, your Harleys, when you were out west and you went down that crappy road, were adventure bikes for sure.
Yeah.
That whole trip was an adventure.
Sportster loved it.
Yeah. But I could further define an adventure bike. I think. You could say that's one definition of it. But another definition I would say is. In my mind, for an adventure bike, you have to be able to haul some gear. You have to be able to haul enough things to camp with, like a tent and sleeping bags and your camping gear. You have to have some range. So I don't know what that number is, but more than 100 miles, right? Probably 150 miles of range at least. Because if you're going to get into a true adventure, you've got to get out of town. You got to get off the pavement. You got to get away from gas stations. What else? it's got to be at least somewhat dirt capable to be, in my mind, to be an adventure bike. Now that I may be a little bit flexible on, because
we'll wait till you get your Harley and take out a Harley adventure.
That's right.
You'll change your mind.
You can have an adventure on street, right? But and that's just me, maybe. All my best adventures have happened
for sure
on dirt, but it doesn't, or gravel at least. But it doesn't have to be that way, I suppose. Yep. Yeah. So, but ultimately, if you're adventuring, if it feels like an adventure, you're on an adventure bike.
Yeah. Amen.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that.
I'll drink to that.
Dream bike, Nate. That's maybe two bikes, two dream bikes. You got a street bike and you get an off-roadable bike.
Oh man.
Should give you a heads up on this.
Yeah, we need some Brett next time.
Yeah, I know, right? Speak up if you got something in mind. But yeah.
So, when you say a street bike, you mean street only? And a dirt bike?
I don't care.
Yeah, okay.
It's whatever.
It's your dream, dude. It's your dream.
I mean, I would love to get another Ducati, just as far as sport bikes on the street. I had that Hyper Motard 1100, and as much fun as I have adventuring, just fun on two wheels, that thing was hard to beat. Yeah. Man, it was fun. Go ahead.
What's the Harley like Street Fighter that's like it's like a naked but huge engine, like a Diavel?
Oh, that's Ducati. Did you say Harley?
Oh, I did. But yeah. I meant Ducati.
Diavel or something like that.
Diavel. I meant Ducati.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Big
cruiser.
I would love to. Yeah, I'd like to ride one of those. That'd be on my list for a fun bike.
I saw a guy riding one at the track.
Oh wow!
Yep, at a track day. Pretty neat.
Keeping up?
Yeah. Not bad. But then as far as I love the 500. Like, it's not great on the highway. I mean, it'll go over 100 miles an hour, but it's still just not fun to cruise up about 65 or over. I shop all the time. The wife gives me crap for it. Says I'm autistic because of how much I scroll Marketplace, but I'm always looking at 690 Enduro R's and 890 Adventure R's for sure.
For sure, yeah.
And these days the T7s too are pretty appealing.
Yeah. I rode Arlo's 890, and what an awesome bike. Really, it's everything, right? It feels light and nimble, but it's got power for days, and it's got the quick shifter and traction control and all that stuff, and just incredible. What an incredible thing to ride. Yeah. But you can't argue with this. You can't argue with that your 525, right?
No, I can't.
It's to do everything.
Yeah.
There is nowhere that thing can't go. It is a true dirt bike. But then we hauled, down the highway for hours at a time, and Nate's right there with us, complaining. His ass is hurting, but it makes it. Yeah,
put a little baby powder up in there, make it through.
Yeah.
No, I do love that bike. It just keeps going, and anytime we're on the highway, and I'm sitting there thinking, man, I wish I was on an 890. The next thing you know, 2 hours later, we're going through a rocky creek bed, and I'm like, I'm glad I'm on this 500.
I'm not on 890. Yeah, for sure. And I put 35,000 miles on a DRZ 400. It was a KLX, but the same thing, right? And it was the perfect adventure bike too, just minus some power from that thing. So yeah.
Yeah, actually, fun fact: we did a IXCR race, the Patana Ram, and we were all in the same class. And old Backer here on his KLX 400, slow as shit compared to everything else out there, with baggage still on the side.
On the back.
Got the whole shot. Incredible.
I caught the whole shot, but then some kid in the second turn fell down in front of me, and I got hung up on his. My brake pedal got hung up on his foot peg, so lost it immediately. But I got it. I got that whole shot. But yeah, I did the whole IXCR with a rack on back.
Yeah.
Awful. That's hilarious. Yeah. All right. Dylan, what's a bike you'd want to own one day?
I'd like to own an FXR of some kind. No particular year, really. And Panhead. And Knucklehead.
Yeah.
I'd like to have both of those too. It'd be nice to just have like
Wait
one
till
of
you
each
get a few
motor.
trips in you, and
so I don't even
some
know
of your
any
bike
other model
dreams
bikes.
might change.
Yeah. Any other? Yeah, I really only know Harleys, so
I would really like to have an FXRT for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, besides like, dirt bikes or adventure bikes or sport bikes.
Never had too
I don't
many.
know any of them, but
How about you?
Well, that Ducati, that, what is it?
I don't know.
Diavol, I think.
Yeah,
Diavol?
something like that.
It means the devil, right?
Probably.
I believe so. But yeah, the Diavol, I tend to always have a bike that is business, right? I had an R6 for a while. Well, that DRZ wasn't really business, but, but it was what I could afford. And I got this Tiger now, which is kind of a do-all bike. It's not too much business. It's not like an 890 or whatever. Anyway, I would like to have a street bike that I could just cruise. I've never had a street bike that I can just cruise. I've had some old ones, but they're more work than cruising. So, I think that Diavol would be awesome just as a commuter bike, as a fun back road bike.
I'm sure.
Exactly, yeah, for sure. So that's on the list. What else? Well, that 890.
Yeah.
Man, that thing is really great, yeah. It's the coolest, funnest adventure bike I've ever ridden.
What's the guy's name again with the T7?
Patrick,
yeah. That's right. Have you ridden that?
I've ridden it, yeah. And it's a great bike, light and nimble, and decent power, but it's just maybe lacking a little power. Certainly compared to the 890, it's lacking power. But I think, well, I've only ridden them both on street, right, on road, maybe a little bit of rock road or back roads or whatever, but I'm sure that if we got anything gnarly, then the 890 would probably get heavy pretty quick compared to the T7. So and I've heard great things about the new Tiger as well, but I don't think there's just some things about the Triumph, the little bit of reliability issues there, and some other things that I probably wouldn't go back to Triumph. But
and I've only just seen pictures and was following Dakar a little just on Instagram this year. But the Cove bikes, have you seen those?
No.
It's a Chinese company, but they're already selling them here in the States. They got like a 450, I think like a 700 or 800. But what's really neat is they're selling the 450s full up rally outfitted, like the tower, windscreen, fairings, and stuff, and they're cheap. They're cheaper than anything else.
And street legal, though.
Yeah, street legal.
Cove, C-O-V-E?
K-O-V-E.
K-O-V-E,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, look them up. And like I said, I don't know anything about them, but pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Not that I'm going to buy a Chinese bike.
Yeah.
But yeah, they look cool. Hopefully some other companies follow suit and offer some of those smaller ones for sure.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And so what size? A 450?
Yeah.
Yeah. All rallied out.
Yeah, all rallied out.
Have you guys seen the CF Moto? We mentioned it here before we started talking about it.
I've seen a picture, but don't know anything about it.
Yeah, it looks pretty interesting too. So, my understanding is that CF Moto, for years, they've made the engines for KTM, some of the smaller displacement engines.
Yep.
For KTM. So, they've got a good background of making quality engines, quality parts, and then they started making bikes too. So, it's pretty interesting to see. I think the CF Moto coming out as a 450 as well. Interesting to see how that'll do too. Although I think it's not really, the race bike. It's not really set up as being super competitive. It's going to be more of just a good solid ADV bike, I think. So
cool.
Yep. All right. What else?
What else you got in your paper? We already go through all those?
Done, son. Yeah.
Dang.
I don't believe you. Tell a Harley story.
Well, there you go.
Oh boy.
We were kind of.
Why does this podcast keep talking about Harleys? One of the first episodes was about Harleys.
Well, making fun of Harleys, but I would never do that with you guys present.
I'll be the first one to make fun of
we
them.
make fun of them more than anyone.
I lied. I would.
I actually told one of my favorite Harley stories, real passionate about it, so I might get fired up here.
I'm ready for it.
We were out doing that trip out west, and this one day, so we were pounding some pavement, getting quite a few miles in every day. But this one day, we started out in the morning, hit a great curvy road full of switchbacks, and we were getting it as Harleys go. And then we roll into this town in Northern California. It looked like an old west town, and there was a saloon. And
West saloon.
Yeah. Ethan pulled in. We're like, yeah, we'll go in and get a beer. went in there and started having so much fun we didn't leave. So we hung out there for a while. Great day. There was a barber shop attached.
Yep.
And,
You got there at what time?
This is probably 10.
Yeah, it was probably pretty early in the morning.
It was before noon.
About the first stop, and
Yeah, well, that was the cool thing with the trip, though. Like, no plan. You just figured it out the next day, what we're doing that day. And if something catches your eye, we'll do that.
Yep.
And this saloon caught our eye. So,
I'm not good at that, but I need to do those trips now and then.
Yeah.
My trips are always, I got a lofty goal, right? Like, we got to ride 300 miles a day, get to where we got to go. And there's no give or, there's no time to.
We're 200
sit
miles
waste.
from the North Rim.
Yeah.
It's like 7 o'clock. I think we can make it. But so after we sobered up, we decided we needed to get a camp spot. So we're flying down this road. Feels great, just enjoying it. And Ethan was in front. Evan was second. I was third. Dylan was taking up the tail end. And in front of me, Evan had this flannel flying in the wind. And sure enough, it came undone, hits the road, and it's just like gliding across the road. And I reached down with my foot, and I scooped it up. But the way my Harley's set up, I could not reach my foot. So I'm just like riding, like, what do I do? And before I could even turn
Got a
around.
flannel shirt on your foot.
Yeah, flannel shirt on my foot, saving my guy's shirt. He didn't even know it's gone.
No.
But before I can even look back or figure out what to do, Dylan comes flying up next to me and scoops it off my foot. And we're like cheering. We try to high five each other on the
almost
highway.
wrecked each other.
About wrecked.
That's teamwork.
So the story's not over.
Okay.
So we get back to the campground, and me and him are just giggling and going on about how awesome of a save this was. And of course, they're like, "Oh, that's cool," but we're like, "You just had to see it." The very next morning, we're riding up through this town. This time, I'm in first, Dylan's second, and then those two are in back. And this big piece of cardboard goes rolling across the ground. I swerve over, scoop it up with my foot. Dylan goes flying up and grabs it. We're like, that's what we did.
Yeah.
So
They
y'all
couldn't
got to see
believe
it,
it.
huh?
Yeah, it was insane. Yeah.
Can we get a demonstration? I want to see this.
Maybe we'll do it in Idaho.
Yeah, that was funny.
Oh, shoot.
They were like, "We get it now." That was insane.
And I think that's the got a burp here. Sorry. I think that's this piece of cardboard that you wrote "send nudes" on. And
Yeah. Yep. Didn't get any.
No,
Nobody sent any.
That's
You'll have
pretty
that.
standard. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one.
So, tell us about this trip coming up in May. Your trip.
All right.
It's the BAT, right?
The BAT, the Backer
yeah.
Adventure Tour.
So you got two routes now. You have the BDR, the Backer Discovery route, and the Backer Adventure Tour.
I haven't made the BDR official yet, but I think we'll just call it a BAT on the return. Yeah, we'll do the BDR up, the BAT back.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
All right.
Nice.
Well, this will be my fourth year putting an adventure ride together. I did the tunnel tour, and then the Walking Giants, and then last year we did the Kentucky Iron Furnaces, and then this year, I just recently announced it. We're doing the Damn Kentucky River tour. So the Kentucky River, I don't even know where it starts. I guess I should figure that out. But it ends up by Madison, Indiana. And we're going to camp we're going to camp just west of Lexington, Kentucky. I rented out a farm. And
How do you rent a farm? That's amazing.
I know, right? You
That's freaking cool.
What app is that?
farm
Farmers
rent.
only.
But rent out a farm, and so we're going to camp there and ride north one day, south one day, and we're going to ride all along the Kentucky River. There's like 8 or 9 old locks and dams on the Kentucky River that we'll go to, and they're like real small. Like if you guys have ever been on the Ohio River and seen the locks and dams, they're like pretty enormous structures, right? And they have big locks that they take a barge through, and the dams like pretty tall, like 30-foot tall. These are like maybe 10-foot dams, and then the locks are real small, just like you can get a fairly small boat through, maybe like a pontoon, I guess. But they're all I think maybe a couple are still operational, but most of them are not operational anymore. So most of them are like the lock is concreted shut to where you can't open it anymore. But the thing is that they're basically abandoned, and you can actually walk out on them and like see how they work, and it's kind of cool to walk out and see these locks and dams. So
Cool. Well, I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
Be
my first one.
Yeah, great trip to break in the old CRF over there too.
yeah, check your bearings before you go.
Huh?
Check your bearings.
Oh,
Check
yeah,
your wheel
yeah.
bearings before you go.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Bring a welder too.
on my last year's trip, the Iron Furnace Tour, Nate and I went out the first day, Friday, and we were riding the part of the route, and and we got on some pavement and we were getting it, and I was like upshifting to hauling some ass around some turns, and I did an upshift and it didn't go, and the shifter didn't seem real solid, so I pull up on it a little harder and the whole shifter just fucking broke off. Yeah, it turns out there's like a rod that goes into the engine, so the shifter's connected to the shift rod by linkage, and that rod actually broke off. So we kind of thought we were hosed. I thought I was hosed for the whole weekend. We started thinking and asking around, and we found a welding shop. They closed at 4. We showed up at 4:05, but they worked us in. They were still there. We caught them at the door.
That's
we're like,
awesome.
hey, hold up. Yeah. And told them, gave them our sob story, and they were willing to help us out. They took us in there, and they were able to put a little tack on there, and it held for the day and the weekend. So that was day one.
What's the status of that weld today?
It broke a couple more times, and I've welded it a couple more times.
Okay.
But I don't want to split the cases to fix it, so so that's what we're going to do. We're going to weld it as long as we can.
I can't wait to see this marketplace ad. Highway only.
Don't low Bobby, I know what I got. Yeah. So that was day one, and then day two, Saturday, we did actually make it all. Oh well. We made it halfway through the route, and then Bill and I actually both bottomed out on this like staircase rock, the shelf rock, and we both busted our oil pans. Although his was way worse than mine, so he basically ran out of oil right away. Whereas
we pulled up to this waterfall, and Bill was right behind me. He goes, "Something burning?" And I'm like, I don't really smell anything. He goes, "Oh hell, my bike's on fire!"
So yeah, I got some great pictures. Maybe I'll put one up here. But we sat there for a good couple hours waiting for we waited for some JB weld. Somebody rode and got some JB weld, and then we waited for that to set up. But it worked enough to get him back, didn't it? He rode back to camp.
So we got the kind that sets up with heat. And so he waited a long time, but it was still tacky. And when he hit the road, it failed. So he went to a gas station. He laid it down, and he still had some more with him. And a bunch of people were walking up to him like, "Hey, you need help picking up your bike?" He's like, "No, I can pick up my bike. I'm just working on it." But by that time, his case was hot. And he said when he put that second batch on, it hardened right up.
No kidding.
So we should have just started it.
Yeah, should have sent it.
Yep.
Yeah, but we didn't really get through any of the day's rides this year. So we spent a lot of time there waiting, getting Bill up and running again, and then by the end of the day, when we pulled back into camp, my bike was wobbling real bad. It felt like something was loose. I got off, and sure enough, my whole wheel was just you just do this with it. The back wheel bearings were totally shot. So it was. We did not do our maintenance. We were not prepared. But I ended up riding Corey's WR450 all weekend, which was awesome. He had it set up for supermoto, and that bike handled great. Was the hoot to ride. Had great power. It really made me want a WR450.
Awesome bikes.
And so I rode that while he rode his 650 Suzuki V-Strom.
We-Strom.
Yeah.
V-Strom.
And he ended up wrecking that real bad.
I heard about that.
Scraped his stomach up real good and everything. But so it was not Corey's best weekend. But I appreciate it, Corey.
Good trip though. Had some fun.
Well, yeah. I mean, who cares if we rode? We had good stories. We had a good time.
Yeah.
And plenty of this.
Oh yeah. So What is the hardest ride you have ever done? The most challenging, just beat your ass, struggle.
Good question. So, okay, I'll have a few answers here, I think. So, I mean, I've done some IXCR races on inappropriate bikes, and that's always awful struggle, right? So, yeah, I'll put that on the list. The Arizona BDR started off with a major struggle. I thought I would doctor it up. So we drove into Phoenix and started the BDR at Phoenix, which is really about at least a third of the way up the BDR already. But we started in Phoenix, and then I thought that I would put a couple off-road sections into our route. I was trying to find some good single track and stuff. But all the single track out there is pretty gnarly. So anyway, I put this section on at the very beginning, before we even got to the BDRs, the very first thing we did out of town. And we went down this big, nasty hill. All gnarly. Of us. Yeah. And we did not obey the golden rule. I mean, golden rule is you don't go down anything you can't get back up. And the first thing we did on this ride was go down something we didn't know we could get back up. And sure enough, the damn trail didn't go anywhere. We rode for 10 miles this way and rode back, and then we rode for 10 miles that way on a Y, and it got real nasty, got into some huge boulders, and we ended up coming back.
Hot as hell, too.
Yeah, super hot, awful out there. And then I burnt my clutch, and I really thought, at that point, I really thought we were calling a freaking wrecker to come get us out. I thought that we were hosed. We went back to this hill, and somehow, I mean, I guess it just was really good traction out there. It's not like a hill around here where it's mud or whatever. At least the hill had, the rocks out there had good traction, and we were all able to get up that hill pretty much no problem.
Yeah, it took me a couple tries.
Yeah.
First day, I don't do a lot of riding off-road until we do our trips, so first day of the adventure trips every year, I'm usually pretty rusty.
Oh, man.
Mm-hmm. So that was a big challenge. But, okay, my last answer here. Anytime I ride with Road Dad, the dude's an animal.
I can attest to that.
He's got a huge tank on his WR250, which doesn't use any gas anyway, right? And he will get on that bike, and he will ride till he's out of gas. He doesn't stop for anything. He'll just go 150, 200 miles at a time without stopping. And I'm like, my ass is dying. I'm like, we got to stop somewhere. But he's in front. I'm not going to tell him what to do, right? I'm in no position to tell him how to ride. So those, my very first adventure ride, real adventure ride, we did the Continental Divide ride from Steamboat Springs north. And riding with Jerry on my first adventure ride, we were doing these 200 miles, 150 mile stints without stopping. And I thought I was going to die several times. I just thought I was going to die from my ass hurting too much. Yep. So yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, I think the toughest technical stuff I've ridden was when we were out in Taylor Park, Colorado.
Yeah,
beautiful. Yeah. But man, that single track was just awful.
Yeah. You were on this, right?
Yep.
And I was on the Beta, and we had Wild Bill on his KLR, which I can't believe what he went through on that thing.
Guarantee it's the only KLR that has ever been on a couple of those trails we rode.
Shit. Wild Bill was supposed to be here today too, so fuck you, Bill. But man, the stuff he went through on that thing, I couldn't believe. But the thing about all the single track out there is that it was all super scenic and very beautiful and great riding, but none of it was flowy. There was no place where it flowed. It was all just slow and technical, rocky, and difficult.
Yep.
And some stuff that, I mean, I consider myself a fairly advanced rider, even off-road, but there was some stuff that I wasn't going to do. I was not tackling out there. So,
Oh, I was dying.
Yeah.
We'd stop and I wouldn't be dripping sweat. It was like a stream. Just pouring.
It wasn't even hot.
No, it was cold.
Yeah, it was rough.
Oh, man.
And that's where we had the first night ride.
Oh, yeah. The birth of...
night rides.
I actually had two notable night rides on that trip. Old Wild Bill put his bike down 2 or 3 times. The first night, got lost.
He should not have been on a bike at the time. And
Came back with a big chunk of earth in his helmet.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then the last night, I shouldn't have been on a four-wheeler. And I was.
Yeah. And then ended up basically paying for half a new four-wheeler, right?
Yeah, pretty well. Yeah.
After he tore the shit out of it.
No, it was bad. Got to go to the ER too, so gave me some good pills though, and then me and Backer hit the town that night,
Nice.
right after
Naturally.
the ER.
How'd you do?
Denver. Yeah, good time though. But, I'd go back to Taylor Park, but I'd like to find. It's hard to find the good single track. Everybody's always real protective of their single track, you know, and hard to get that out of guys. But I'd like to find the good single track out there because actually on that Continental Divide ride, I don't remember where we were exactly because it was my first ever ride and I didn't know what the hell was going on. But somewhere there, I veered off from Jerry and Craig and got on this awesome single track, just super flowy. Went through the woods for a while and then came out in this meadow and it was beautiful and
awesome,
and flowed great, and I'll never find it again. It's one of those things, right?
Well, me and you found the one the first trip to Silverton.
Yep.
The very last day, we were with a big group, but most of them had left, so it was me, him, and Ethan. And we're like, all right, we're gonna get one more day of riding in before we hit the road later that day. And we start heading out of town, and Ethan blows a tube. And we're like, hey, we'll wait. You know, we can change it. And of course, he's pissed.
He's pissed off, yeah.
He's like, fuck it. He's like, I'm going back. You guys just go. So we went and ended up just on, at least for me, the most incredible ride ever.
Absolutely awesome single track. Yeah.
Unreal. Just, coming up over these big hills, big herd of elk. There was some rocky stuff, and then we got into the pines, and it was just as smooth as can be.
Smooth and flowing.
And then once we got out of the woods,
yeah.
it was like this sandy creek, and there were like little jumps and bank. It was incredible.
Just had it all, did it all. Beautiful meadows. Yeah, it was great.
I'd like to find that again.
Yeah, we should do that. We should definitely go back to Silverton. I've always had.
Oh yeah, you can't go there too much.
Silverton, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Right
I actually took the old man when this bike was his, and I still had the 525. Took him out there and really tested his limits, but he loved it. Had a blast. Went down Black Bear and everything.
That's awesome. That's great. What rides are on your list this year? You doing anything? You're doing the Backer Adventure Tour, of course.
Doing the
the
2 rides we talked about. Yep.
Good man. You guys, have you ever done any other local rides? You've done Jerry's ride. I've pulled you into Jerry's ride one time.
Yeah, I think one time, but that's it.
Here's your National Forest ride, yeah. You guys really got to get to the Loose Nut ride for sure. And Foo Fest puts on a good ride too, and there's some others in the area. But Loose Nut, I mean, there were probably close to 200 bikes there this year.
Wow.
So, yeah, I mean, it is the local adventure ride to do. So got to get you there this year. Always first week in November. So put that on your calendar.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
I have to remember that.
Nice.
All right.
Is Jerry looking forward to finding a poon saloon out in Idaho?
Didn't he say it's the first beer he had in 5 years or something? Poor guy. He just had a birthday, 70. Oh, I don't want to get it wrong. 75, I think. 75th birthday.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Damn.
And going strong.
That's awesome.
Unreal.
Awesome. He's coming up soon on the list here to get on the
Oh,
podcast.
yeah, that'd be a good one.
Yeah, for sure. Well, gentlemen, it's been great talking to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always enjoy hanging out and having a couple beers with you too, and talking bikes. We'll do it again soon.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'll have maybe a bigger list so we can keep
Yeah.
going.
Thanks for allowing a Harley guy to join you guys.
No longer a Harley guy, Dylan, or you wouldn't be here, buddy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, don't.
I own an adventure bike for one day. He's in.
He's in.
He's on the podcast.
I can't wait to ride with you this spring, buddy.
Me too. I'm super excited.
Absolutely. Yep.
Your
All right,
voice also sounds really sensual in these mics.
Yeah.
Does it?
Sorry, I'm dragging on the end here.
Gentlemen,
Cheers.
Cheers.
thank you. Thanks, everybody.